My name is Sheila Dunleavy and I'm here this afternoon on behalf of the Hapton Heritage Group, and I'm going to ask Brendan Rossiter some questions. Brendan,
Good afternoon.
which school did you attend?
St John's, Padiham.
Can you remember any of the teachers there?
Yes.
Miss Crompton. Miss Crompton.
Miss Crompton, Miss Hoyle, Mrs
Mr.
McIver,
Mr. Berry.
uh,
Mr. Berry, because he used to
Mr Barry, the headmaster. There were Nina Barry's daughter, she was a teacher there.
What entertainments did you have when you were a boy?
When I was a boy, Tin in the Ring.
How did they play that?
Yeah, you've never played that. Well, you put a drawing of chalk on the floor and put a tin inside it, salmon tin or anything, and go and hide. And the person that were on had to find you. But you used to run and kick the tin out of the ring and you used to shout, "Tings out of the ring."
Right, thank you. Which church did you go to?
St John's.
And how did you get there?
Walked it.
You walked there.
Yeah.
And what about in winter time?
Beg your pardon?
In winter time.
You walked it, didn't you?
Well, there were no winter and summer for us when we were boys, you know, life was life and you just carried on with it.
Right. Can you tell us about when you started work?
When I started work, I started when I was 13. When I was expelled from school, I started work. And Mr Rogerston was the school board. And he said, "You were a likely lad, you looked more like you could work than learn." So I went into civil engineering first and bricklaying. And I worked there for 2 or 3 years. And then the bombing started in Liverpool, so I were drafted to repair the bomb damage, you know, with a gang of person. And I was there 2 years, and then from then on we started to build all the property that people needed after the bombing.
Can you remember anything about Hapton Brickworks?
Hapton, how it was.
Brickwork.
The brickworks.
Oh yeah, yeah. The brickworks, it must have been built there about 1900. And the brick itself that was manufactured was equivalent to Accrington bricks, very, very hard. And if you went exploring a bit in the wood, what we call the wood, you'll find little tunnels and things made out of the bricks. And there was a shale hole where they got the clay, one on one side of the cliff and one on the other side. And that went on till the big firms started to come to work, like at Uncourt and Accrington. So they just disappeared the brickworks. But they built there with the bricks Mother's Mill.
Oh, built with Hapton bricks.
Yeah, yeah. And I think your mother and father worked there.
We did, yes.
Yeah. And it employed about 500 people. And my brother-in-law was the manager. He was called Bachtold.
Yeah.
And he come from Switzerland.
Oh.
And he learned to do other things except his own job. He stole my sister, and they got married. She'd be 24 when she got married to him. And She lived in Switzerland about 50 years, 40 years.
She's been dead about 2
She's
years
dead
now,
now.
your Virginia, hasn't she? Yeah.
Did you know who had the post office? And what was it like inside?
Inside the post office, well, there was Johnny Cunliffe, he was the postmaster,
Yes.
and Bobby, his brother, and then Nellie Blank was a baker, and it were all one, you know, community, and they did everything in there, stamps, pensions, things like that, everything.
Yeah.
And Mr. Nellie Black's husband, he lived in Burnley, but she used to travel on the train every day on the Puffin Billy. Can you remember the 50?
No.
No. It was an old engine they had, and it pushed 2 carriages along or pulled them along. And it was very, very well used. It used to run between Burnley and near enough to Blackburn. And its main job was for mail, you know, picking up the mail and distributing it.
Yeah.
And
What sort of things happened during the war in Hapton?
during the war, well, there was a home guard there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Mr. Smithies, he was like Captain Mainwaring.
Do you know, I was in the ATS, as you know.
Beg your pardon?
Sure, and I got posted to Abergavenny. I've forgotten now where it was. I've been in the army quite a few years then, and I went to church on the Sunday morning. I managed to get time off to go. Who should I see there? Mr. Smithies collecting. What he used to do in Padiham, you know, I couldn't believe it. I thought, I've come all these miles, and who should I see but old Smithies collecting again.
And he, whichever parish he went to on the continent, he was moved about. When he became a soldier, he always went to the parish priest and asked for a job, collected.
Yeah.
So he must have got some of the collected.
What do you remember about the cotton strike? What happened then?
Well, there were knob sticks. The knob sticks, yeah. They come from Padiham, and there'd be about maybe 300 or 400 of them.
He used to march up to Hapton, didn't he?
Marched into Hapton, and they had to bring the riot squad to them twice, you know, to
It was a
disperse
very
them.
exciting time then, because I was at St John's School then, and we all used to sit on the school wall and watch the what do they call them, black legs or whatever they're called. They go and they stop people from going into work. I forgot what they call them now. They used to come marching up with a band. It was very exciting. Yeah, because Mr. Berry used to shout at us to get off the school wall we were watching. Yeah, I can remember that. That'd be in the 1930s though, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It was before the
But
war.
that was not the
30s that would
first
be.
venture of the strike people. Before then, there were one from the Hamble and Hill quarry, and all the men from the quarry come down and caused a riot. So
How many men would there be?
on the hill there must have been about 500 people worked up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the base of it there'd be 200. And then they gather more men, you know. We're all handwork, see.
Yeah.
And if you go up on Hamble, you can still see flags and what we call slop stones.
Yeah.
Do you know what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sinks.
They used to make them.
Right.
And that went out of business because everything then became machinery. cut in the stone.
Yeah.
So
So
that
what
disappeared.
happened when they went on strike, these men from the quarry?
When they come on the strike,
Yeah.
they just drinking and smoking.
Yeah.
But they were very, very low-grade men, really. Nice men, but right at the bottom. And they used to gamble all the money away. And between Hapton and Rosegrove, there's a gambler's tunnel.
Really?
Yeah, and it's still there.
Whereabouts would that be?
It used to be a tunnel for the cattle to walk through.
Yeah.
And they used to go on Sunday and play cards and crown and anchor. No, you don't know what that is. It's like a sailor's game. You have 4 crown. You have a crown, an ace of spades, ace of clubs, and something else, and they used to gamble on it. You know, they throw down dice,
Yes.
and then there'd be a lot of fighting because who won.
Was this a bridge near the canal or railway?
Oh, it's
I'm
between
sure.
Hapton
Yes.
on the railway line and Rosegrove,
I see.
and it's on. They were called Laycock's Field. It's on the south side of it.
Right.
The tunnel is,
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah,
And it's still there.
yeah.
Yes. Oh, good. Right. I see that. Can you remember what the canal was used for during the war?
Beg your pardon?
What the canal was used for during the war?
Yeah, the canal were used mostly by the Germans.
Germans.
Germans?
Yes,
How could they?
because
They got
they
that
could
wrong.
see it at Hull and see the strip of water going right to Liverpool. So all these pilots followed it. It was it was as if somebody shone a light on the ground and they followed it along. And that's what it was used for a lot of time. But in between, the British Navy used to have ships coming from America. They were called motor torpedo boats. And they used to drive them along the canal to Hull, and then they went to the continent. And that was done every day. You know, these torpedo boats.
Did they actually come up the canal?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Right from Liverpool, right to Hull. Yeah.
Can you tell us anything about the village pubs?
Yeah,
Oh, now you're on my pet subject, aren't you?
there were Billy Stevenson.
Yes.
He kept the
Railway.
railway.
Yes.
Yeah, the railway. And
What do you call the girls that used to travel on the train with me?
and then there were Joe Evanson and his
Edmondsons,
wife
That's it.
and 2 daughters. They kept the
Bridge.
bridge.
The bridge.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they had the worst beer in town, it were, because they had the bridge pub had 3 pumps, but the 3rd pump come out of the canal, I think,
Oh, dear.
and it was
You've got
terrible
your-
beer. But people bought it and drank it. Yeah.
Do you ever go in the Hapton Inn?
No, because there were an Irishman on it, and
I see, you didn't get on with him.
there were an Irishman and his wife. She was a weaver, was she?
Yes.
And I used to go up there a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Right, thank you very much, Brendan. That's been very informative.
I bet.
Thank you.